family got all these peaches for $15. Let's see how many things we can make with them. Hit subscribe if you like peaches. I'll give you a peach if you subscribe. Do it. Do it. What part of the world are you in? Do you get peaches seasonally? Or is it the kind of thing that you have to wait until it's shipped in from somewhere else? Here in Ontario, we have a pretty short but awesome peach season in late summer. So my wife went to a farmer's market and got what we call seconds. Seconds are peaches that are just as good as any other peaches, but they're probably a little misshapen. They might look a little funky. Maybe some stones or some hail hit them, and so they're just not as pretty and perfect as other peaches. So she got what would probably be 50, 60, maybe even more dollars worth of peaches here that we're gonna turn into so many things. Let me know in the comments below what you like to do with peaches. Do you like to make pies? Do you like to make muffins? Do you make salsas, jams? I'm gonna try to make as many things as I can this week and show you what I did with all of these peaches. I actually just did a live stream the other day and I made these peach muffins. Aren't they pretty and cute? Like this if you like peaches. And if you don't like peaches, why are you watching this video? Are you trying to convert? I can help with that. I'm gonna teach you to like peaches. I wanna make some fresh peach pudding. Start off by grabbing about 4 to 6 peaches, depending on their sizes. What you're looking for is about 2 cups worth of peaches. We're gonna remove the pits and put them into a food processor. If you wanna get extra fancy, you can take the skins off, but I like to leave them on. Cause I'm lazy. That's it, I'm just lazy. I don't really care if the skins are on there. Blend them up until they're a nice silky puree. If you got a couple little chunks with skin, that's alright. Texture, baby. Next, we're gonna add in 1 cup of unsweetened non-dairy milk, 1 can of full-fat coconut milk, and a 1/4 cup of coconut starch. The coconut starch is what's gonna make this thicken into a pudding. We're gonna mix that up again until everything is nicely combined. Next, we're gonna transfer that to a medium saucepan, turn up the heat, and stir that until it's thickened. We want to get that so it's bubbling a little bit and it's starting to turn into what I would call a pudding texture. Pudding, we're making pudding. It's going to thicken as it cools, so don't worry too much here if it's not as thick as you would want it when it's finished. It'll get there. Just have a little faith. Now we're going to add in a 1/4 cup of maple syrup, a teaspoon of vanilla, and a little sprinkle of salt. Mix that in and give it a little taste. If it's not sweet enough, add more maple syrup. The sweetness is really your own thing. You have to decide how sweet you want it. I'm not going to come to your house and tell you how much to sweeten your pudding. I'm not going to do it. Pour that into a non-metal container, ideally glass, but plastic will be fine if that's all you got. We're going to let that cool on the counter for just about 15 minutes, and when it's done, we're going to take some plastic wrap or parchment, and we're going to put it on top so that it's actually touching the top of the pudding. And this is what's going to keep it from developing that disgusting, horrid skin that you don't want because it's gross. And everyone will hate it, and they'll say, why did you leave the pudding skin on? It's the worst. Blah. Don't do that to people. Now that it's nice and cool, put it in the fridge and let it sit for a couple hours up to overnight. I'm not showing you the inside of my fridge because it's disgusting. My inside of the fridge looks like the inside of your fridge. I barely cleaned up my kitchen for you. You can serve this as is. If you want to get fancy and make some aquafaba whipped cream, throw that on top. Slice up some fresh peaches to serve with it. Whatever you want. It's all sorts of delicious. Now let's see what my family thinks of this.
Oh, it's really good. Good. It's kind of like peaches and cream.
Peaches and cream pudding. That's what we'll call it. Thanks, Annie. 4 peaches down, 50 to go. Probably more than 50. How many peaches do you think are in here?
Guys, in the comments below how many peaches are here.
Guess down there.
How many peaches? So for breakfast, I want to make baked peaches with peach Faux-Gurt topped with my granola. And maybe some other things. First, I'm going to make my peach Faux-Gurt. This really helps if you've got a little hand blender. Because they're seconds, all the peaches we have are really small. So I'm just using one of them, which is about 1/2 of a large peach. I'm using a 1/4 cup of plant-based milk, a tablespoon of chia seeds, a scoop of protein powder, and then cut up that small peach or 1/2 of a large peach and put it inside. And then just blend it up until it's mixed together. Now I'm going to put that in the fridge and let it sit for a few minutes so the chia thickens up. Now the next step is to bake your peaches. You've got a couple options here. If you have an air fryer, I recommend that. Preheat it at 325 degrees Fahrenheit. If you're using an oven, preheat it at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm using 2 peaches here because again, they're small, but if you want to just have 1 peach, just use 1 large peach. And obviously you can scale this up and make this for as many people as you want. So inside the oven with a large peach, you might want to bake your peaches for as long as 30 to 40 minutes until you start to see a little nice browning on top. In the air fryer for these small peaches, all I needed was 15 minutes, but with a larger peach, you might need about 20. Now that those peaches are done, I'm going to transfer them to a bowl that's not going to burn my fingers. I'm going to top them with that peach Faux-Gurt, some hemp seeds, I'm going to throw on some fresh blueberries because I got them, and then I'm going to top with my granola. So as you see, the peaches are small, so everything else kind of buried them underneath the mixture, but that's okay, they were just as delicious. I didn't take a photo and put them on my website, but I have the recipe down below, and also the recipe for the peach Faux-Gurt is on my website, as well as the granola. Let's make peach salad dressing. And I want to make something a little creamy, so we're going to use tahini as our fat base. I'm using 2 small peaches here. You could probably get away with 1 large. I got 3 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar, 2 tablespoons of tahini, and 1/2 teaspoon of chili powder. Blend that together, and that's all you need to do. If it's too thick, you can add a little bit more water to thin it out. Get it to the consistency that you like. Add it to your salad right before serving and toss it around. For an added bonus, top with some candied walnuts or pecans if you got them. I'm gonna grill some peaches. Just let these ride along the barbecue with anything else you're grilling. Cut your peaches in half and place them cut side down, and just leave them on for a minute or 2 until some grill marks are formed. Then turn them over to lightly grill on the other side. You don't want to leave these too long or they'll just turn to mush and fall apart on the grill. So be careful with how long you leave them for. I'm going to cut these up and put them on top of a salad. Candied pecans. This salad is delicious. I don't know that it's delicious. I haven't eaten it yet, but it looks delicious. And you eat with your eyes, right?
You should taste it.
Right now?
Yeah.
That is just a blast of summer. Oh, that is so good. The grilled from the peach gives it like kind of like a smoky flavor almost. And that candied walnut just gives a beautiful, or candied pecan I should say, gives a beautiful texture. This salad is bonkers good. Let's make a peach upside down cake. You're gonna wanna start with either 3 large peaches, or because my peaches are all small, I'm using 6. Take out the pits, half them, and then with a mandolin or a sharp knife, slice them very thin. Be careful here. Don't cut your little fingies. That's why I got my little glove thing. Because one time, I cut off part of my thumb. That wasn't fun. I don't recommend it. Grab yourself a 9-inch cake pan. If you've got silicone, that's even better. Otherwise, lightly oil it with coconut oil, or you can use parchment. Take your most uniform peach slices and make some kind of a design or pattern all along the bottom of the pan. You're gonna have more peaches than this takes. That's okay, set them aside and you're gonna use them for part of the filling. I'm making this cake gluten-free so my wife can eat it, but if you're not gluten-free, that's fine. You can just use a 1.5 cups of whole wheat flour. Here I'm using a gluten-free 1-to-1. We're gonna sift that with a 1/2 cup of coconut sugar. You could also use brown sugar here. The reason why we sift it is to get any of those lumps so the batter's nice and smooth. Next, we're gonna add 3/4 teaspoon of baking soda, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and a heaping teaspoon of cinnamon, because cinnamon's awesome and it should just be in everything. That should be a law. Cinnamon in everything. Mix that together until it's nicely combined. And then in a large measuring cup, get a 1/4 cup of water, a 1/2 cup of unsweetened applesauce, or just one of those little packages that you get at the store for kids' lunches, 2 teaspoons of pure vanilla extract, and 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. Mix that around together. Now pour that into your dry mixture and mix it around until it's just nicely combined. Don't over mix it or it'll make the cake more dense than it needs to be. Now you're gonna fold in the rest of your peaches and mix that until it's nicely dispersed all throughout. The batter's gonna be thick, but that's okay because the peaches are gonna leach out more moisture as it cooks and it's gonna make the cake nice and light and fluffy. Now take the cake pan that you already have your nice little peach design on and very carefully pour the batter onto it and flatten it out. If you're not careful here, you could mess up your beautiful design you spent a lot of time doing, so just don't do that. Smooth it out really carefully, and then when it's done, pop it into the oven for 40 to 45 minutes, depending on what your oven's like. I don't know. All ovens are a little bit different. What you're looking for is that it's cooked all the way through, so make sure it passes that toothpick test. And you want it to be a little bit brown on top. Let it cool inside the pan for at least 20 to 30 minutes. Flip it upside down. Admire the heck out of your beautiful pattern. Slice it up and serve it. If you have some peach ice cream, that would go amazing with this. I don't have any tonight, but I'm going to make some for another part of this video, so stay tuned for that. I woke up this morning feeling like a peach cobbler smoothie, so let's try to make that. Last night before I went to bed, I froze about a cup of peach slices. This morning when I got up, I soaked 4 dates in hot water. So this is 4 small dates. If you have medjool dates, use 2 of them. Now I'm going to add the peaches and the dates to a blender with 1 cup of unsweetened almond milk, 1/4 cup of rolled oats, a splash of vanilla, and a tablespoon of hemp hearts. Then we're just going to blend it up and pour it in and enjoy it. It's a smoothie. It's not that complicated. What are your favorite breakfast smoothies? Do you not have smoothies? I like a green smoothie, but I didn't have any spinach or kale or anything to put in this. That's delicious. It's like creamy and decadent, but it's not overly sweet. That's lovely. So lovely. You could add more dates if you like a little bit sweeter. The oats thicken it up beautifully. This is a perfect protein-packed breakfast. If you pair this with some more fruit, maybe some toast and peanut butter, whatever else you want. It's so tasty. So for our final meal of peaches, I'm gonna make a dinner and a dessert. I'm gonna make a peaches fried rice, as well as a peaches and cream ice cream, and a peach crumble. And we don't have much time, so we gotta be quick, and my wife's gonna help me. Take your block of extra firm tofu and use a box grater to shred it. We're gonna turn that tofu into a kind of a pulled pork texture. Next, we're gonna make a wet rub using 1 tablespoon of water, 1 tablespoon of tamari or soy sauce, 2 teaspoons of chili powder, a half a teaspoon of paprika, half a teaspoon of garlic powder, and you're gonna mix that all around until it forms like a wet rub. Pour that all over your tofu shreds and mix it around until everything has a nice little coating on it. Either cook that in the oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 25 to 30 minutes, stirring it halfway through, or you can cook it in an air fryer at 325 degrees Fahrenheit for 10 to 15 minutes, until it starts to get a little crispy. You'll want to stir that halfway through as well. Next, you're going to make the sauce for the fried rice. 3 tablespoons of plum sauce or sweet and sour sauce, a 1/4 cup of tamari or soy sauce, 1 tablespoon of rice vinegar, 1 teaspoon of cornstarch. Stir that all together until it's nicely combined and set it aside. Then get all your vegetables together. Use whatever you've got on hand, about 4 cups worth.
We have broccoli, peppers, yellow beans, and carrot.
Then you want 2 cups of cooked brown rice. There was rice in there. Where'd the rice go?
In the freezer.
Put the rice in the freezer?
Yep.
Why?
It's a bit hot. Not supposed to use fresh rice for fried rice. We forgot to cook it earlier. We make do.
Normally we'd put onions and garlic on this, but my wife has a reflux situation going on, so ginger only for us tonight. When we're ready, we're gonna add the tofu to the mixture and half the sauce. Then we're gonna set that aside and cook our vegetables until they're softened. While that's happening, we're gonna air fry our peaches for 15 minutes at 325 degrees Fahrenheit. Now we're gonna add in the tofu mixture and the rest of the sauce, stir it and combine it. Then we're gonna add in the rice and keep on mixing. Spoon it out into bowls and top it with those cut up baked peaches. Earlier today, I chopped up some peaches and some bananas and I froze them. There's about 3 cups of peaches and 2 bananas, and then I'm just gonna blitz them inside this food processor. I prefer a food processor because I just find it gets it creamier. I like to blend it up before I'm gonna serve it and then freeze it again because it makes it more like hard ice cream. If you wanna eat it right away, it's more like soft serve, and you can totally do that too. It's practically scoopable like this. It's so good. And you get these little peach flakes. It's so good. It's peachy. It's got a little creamy from that banana. For the crumble, we're making it gluten-free, so we're mixing together a half a cup of brown rice flour, a half a cup of oat flour, and half a cup of all-purpose gluten-free 1-to-1. You can use a cup and a half of whole wheat flour if gluten isn't an issue for you. Add in a half a cup of coconut sugar, half a teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/8 of a teaspoon of baking powder, 1/8 of a teaspoon of sea salt. Stir and combine that. Then we're going to stir in a 1/4 to a half a cup of unsweetened applesauce and mix that until it's nice and crumbly and well coated. We're looking for damp here, not wet. We're gonna bake that at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 10 to 12 minutes until it's lightly browned or crumbly. Now we're gonna take 4 to 6 cups of frozen fruit, depending on how big of a crumble you're making. Of course, today we're using peaches. Now we're gonna add on a heaping teaspoon of cornstarch and mix it all around so everything's coated. This is gonna give you a nice syrupy texture as the fruit breaks down in the oven. We're gonna top that with our pre-baked crumble and bake that at 375 degrees Fahrenheit for 25 to 30 minutes until it's warmed through. This is great on its own, but we're gonna have ours with that peach ice cream we made.
That's so good. So good. It's like peach banana.
That's exactly what it is.
Dad, look, it looks like a sunset.
Aww. What are some of your favorite fruity desserts? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for making it to the end of this video. If you did so, please hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. YouTube thinks you like this video, and here's another video where I make some delicious, treaty desserts. Thank you.